Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to the Manny Diaz Show. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr., University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz. This weekend, the Hurricanes home at Hard Rock Stadium to take on the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. A 7:30 kickoff, a big game. North Carolina State is ranked 18th in the country. They've won 5 in a row. Joined now by University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz. Coach, another tough one at North Carolina, but your team showed an awful lot of heart and passion.
Yeah, we dug ourselves a hole, and then, again, the resiliency, the mental toughness of our team to come back and had a drive there at the end, very similar to the Virginia game where you got a chance to win, and guys were making all the plays. I mean, it really felt like it was right there to win it or tie it at the at the worst case scenario, and I think everybody felt like we'd have won the game in overtime if we'd have gone on. Got a bad break on a tip ball, and those are the breaks that are going against us right now. What we got to identify are the things that get us to that point. We don't have to rely on a bad break on the last play of the game to victory. There's a lot of things we can do in the previous 59 to make us a lot more difficult to beat, and that's our focus this week.
Coach Tyler Van Dyke getting his second start, his first start on the road. But when you look at how he performed against Virginia, the first half, very, very quiet, very low production. Same thing happened on the road, North Carolina, and then both games, he seems to somewhat almost explode. Have you been able to put your finger on what the cause of that is or how to remedy that issue?
Yeah, it's a rookie quarterback. That's what we have to remember. We went from Derek King and all of his great accomplishments and his experience level to Tyler Van Dyke, who is right now doing on-the-job training, and he's been, his courage. The way he's finished games, his toughness, his ability to make plays with his arm and his feet has been outstanding. But with young guys, sometimes the speed of the game and the speed of a new scheme every week takes a while to get used to. And you can see some of his throws in the first half where he's, not really ripping it. And he knows that once he realizes he can get out there and just let it rip and trust his throws and trust his reads, we were as good on offense in the second part of that game as we've been all year.
We should probably mention, this would probably be a good time to mention, kind of a regroup here, that you have lost your starting quarterback. You did lose your backup quarterback or a backup quarterback. So you're never really able to figure out between Jake Garcia and Tyler who would win that battle. You lost a starting running back and another guy that could have been a starting running back, your starting center, and your starting left guard. That's just on offense. So that's a lot of bullets to lose.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Obviously, North Carolina wouldn't be the same team without Sam Howell, and Virginia wouldn't be the same team without their quarterback. But what I like about our guys is that they don't use that as an excuse. The next guy does step up, and it's going to take us a little bit different time to get ready. I think every week I think that'll become less and less of an issue as Tyler gets an idea of what college football is all about and getting in there and realizing he can make plays. He should take a lot of confidence from what he's done over these first 2 ACC games because he's given us a great chance to win in both.
An example could be Jalen Knighton. Jalen last year ends up starting the Duke game. Unfortunately, gets hurt, and then he misses 4 games this year. And there was a huge difference between him against Virginia and him against North Carolina.
Yeah, he had to get his game timing up. There was a couple plays in the Virginia game where he was really close to breaking it. He had one this game on a pass where he broke it. But let's go back to even Tyler too. A couple of Jalen's great plays came on Tyler going through his progression, just getting the ball to a back. Where if it's not up and down the field, get to a ball to a skill guy like Jalen. Jalen makes a guy miss and turns into a huge play.
A guy like Jalen, though, has to give everybody hope, right? He had 19 touches, 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's what you see in college football today, a guy that can give you explosive plays.
That's exactly right, and that's what we've always felt that Jalen brings, that ability to be a home run hitter. I'm also proud, though, of his grinded out runs. He had some good grinded out runs over, up the middle where not everything's going to be a touchdown. Not everything's going to be pop it to the outside and break it. So I thought in between the tackles he was very good. I thought our offensive line played their best game on Saturday, and I thought they really did a nice job opening up some holes. And Tyler, did a good job with the RPO game as the game went on, and sometimes holding some guys with his eyes and his looks. But Jalen. Jalen has got to be the man for us now in this offense. It's his time, and obviously we're young behind him, so he's going to have to be sturdy as well.
You know, Manny, Tyler mentioned in the post game the speed of the game, the adjustment of the speed of the game. And when you think about that, Joe mentioned the players that are injured, but you go on every side of the football, when you put a freshman in, that's the same story for all of them. James Williams is still adjusting to the speed of the game, let alone the movement and let it go in the down and distances and the play calls and the things that he's supposed to provide. All these young players, when you get on that field, it's a whole nother level of play, and nobody can simulate it at practice.
No, it's something else, and they've battled well. I mean, they really have. I mean, all those guys, and I mean, even look at Jacoby George and what he did as a punt returner in the game, and that's just. It's fun to watch them all. They don't all pop at the same time, you know, where they're ready, but you know, one by one, they all start to exert their influence on the game, and we need them. You know, I mean, the best version of our team involves those young guys contributing to our success.
Coach, continuing kind of on that path, I think you try to spotlight some positive things. So two things for you. One, what can you take out of the 97-yard drive? Can you boil down the 97-yard drive, go back to your young guys and say, look, here are all the great things we did on this drive? And then two, defensively, in the second half, Carolina 5 possessions, you get 4 3-and-outs. Can you look at those 3-and-outs and also pull something out of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting with the 97-yard drive, if you think about it, the drive that could have tied the game or won the game against Virginia started inside our own 10-yard line as well. So that's 2 90-plus yard fourth quarter drives that Tyler Van Dyke has led in his first 2 ever conference games. I mean, that's some rare stuff right there. So I think he had to make a huge third down play coming out of the end zone to get that drive going. It can't help but help our offense's confidence if we're put in that situation again. Defensively, as you mentioned, I mean, I thought our defensive line really got after them. They had a hard time dropping back and throwing the ball in the second half. Played very fast at 4 3-and-outs, like you mentioned. The key to winning games, though, we had a 5th 3-and-out that we got called for a roughing the passer penalty that we simply could avoid, and they end up going down and scoring what ends up being their final points on that drive. And we get another 3-and-out there. It reminded me a lot of that Virginia chance to get a 3-and-out when we missed a sack on third down. Those are the plays. That's, it's easy to see the missed field goal at the end of the Virginia game or the tipped interception at the end of the North Carolina game. Look, life in the ACC, the games are going to be close. We played close games a year ago. We won close games a year ago. We've lost back-to-back close games. That's why we're 0-2. We could very easily be 2-0. But it's not just the last play of the game. It's a penalty on a roughing the kicker. It's a penalty on a roughing the passer. It's those type of little things that are costing us points that our players can see, and that's the inconsistency. Because other than that, there's a lot of things that were pretty dominant. They hardly had 100 yards in the second half. I mean, there was some dominant stuff defensively, but you got to bring it all the time. That's the whole key.
And Manny, the analytics tell you this more than anything. You give the ball away 3 times to 1, it's almost impossible to win a football game.
That's right, and it ended up being we were outscored 10-7 on turnovers, points off turnovers, and we lost the game by 3. Right. I mean, and really you could argue that obviously the last one took away at least 3 points for us. So that's 3 to tie it and 3 to win it.
Right.
And that's really where we're at, and that's the fine line in the ACC. It is that way. You see it every week. I mean, Clemson and Syracuse played a tight game Friday night. These games are going to be tight. So everything matters.
Along the lines of the young players, and maybe I'll leave somebody out, but James Williams, Cam Kitchens, the 3 receivers, I guess you can put Knighton in there as well. He's going to have to play more, but have younger players earn more playing time.
Yeah, absolutely. You could throw Leonard Taylor into that mix. Right. LT played really well on the inside and continues to show disruption in there. You're going to have to. Yeah, I mean, we have to get younger guys. I mean, Marcus Clark has got to come in and play some for us at corner. Avante Williams will start to be incorporated back in the team with a role. I mean, it's crazy to expect him a guy that hardly practiced, half of this season so far, but he's obviously a very talented guy that you'll start getting him some ways to affect the football game. Look at running back. I mean, other than Jalen, you got 2 freshmen behind him at running back. Cody Brown, I thought, had a really tough run for a touchdown when his kind of initial progress was stopped, and he kept in there and going, and yet Thad Franklin behind him. We already seen Elijah Arroyo has really been a factor for us at tight end. So it's going to be up and down the line. We're going to have a lot of young guys. Elijah Roberts has been a factor. We talked about Chance Williams on the show over the course of the month. So as I said earlier, we need them all. but we also need them all to play winning football because they are all talented to make plays, but it's again, protecting the football, helping to take it away, no penalties, those type of things that help us win games.
Coach, I can't believe we've waited so long. Harvey with the pick six. Right? That's what we should have opened up with, it having a great play. And I watched that numerous times, and he played it perfectly. Watched the quarterback, knew what was coming, and that was something that I'm sure that helped him get that play that happened out on that practice field.
Yeah, almost the exact same play occurred when they went to Tallahassee a year ago. Florida State did the same thing. The offensive tackle was in a really high pass stance, would put Jafari kind of in pass rush mode. And he went to cut him, and Jafari did a great job playing off the cut block. Right. Once he played off the cut block, he was right in the throw lane. Now, the idea of how he was able to tip the ball to himself and secure possession, that was a pretty cool skill. And then to take it all the way. We've been waiting a long time to get a score on defense, and for Jafari to finally get that was a big boost.
Yeah, he looked like a tight end running down the field. On that last drive, can you go through, it was 3rd and 4, what you were thinking at that time? Because you had played it perfectly all the way throughout the game. The 97-yard touchdown drive, you used the 3 timeouts. You have enough time to march it down the field. Clock's going to stop with first downs. Now you're faced with a 3rd and 4, so it would have to be a first down most likely and a spike, right, or a first down and then one more play.
Yeah, we were 3rd down. Clock was in a running situation, and we had an RPO on. So it was the same play that, if you remember, we actually had a 3rd and 21 when we were down by 11. And threw an RPO to Keyshawn Smith, and he got 21 yards. And then we scored a play later, went for 2. That's how 11 got to be 3 on the 97-yarder. So we're going to come back with the same RPO as something we felt good about the entire game. And it had a shot. But, their guy that made a nice job, he kind of found a crack in the A-gap, got a hand up and batted up the ball up in the air. And then once the ball was up in the air, I got to give our guys credit. They tried like heck to bat it down. And it's crazy. If the ball slips to the turf, we run out there and at least kick a field goal, to tie it. But that's, like I said, the way things are going right now, that's not the way it went. So, got to find a way to manufacture your own breaks during the course of the game. But I liked what we had. I liked what we had set up, and we were playing to score a touchdown and win the game on that play.
Keontae Smith returns, gives you 2 sacks, 6 tackles. He was present in the Alabama game, his first start as a Hurricane, and then was injured, and he's a difference maker.
Yeah, you just feel the speed. You know, he just, it's a different element. I think Wayman's been really a good player when he's been there. I think he's performed well on Saturday as well. But Keontae just gives you something a little bit different, and can give you something different on 3rd down as well. So even a couple of those sacks that we felt like we were missing the last few weeks by not having that speed, agility. Obviously, as we saw, Howell is a great scrambler and a great runner. So to have a guy like Keontae that can close ground that space quickly gives us a different element in our pass rush to create plays there on 3rd down.
Okay, we move forward. North Carolina State is coming up next at Hard Rock Stadium. We'll talk about the Wolfpack as we continue right here on the Manny Diaz Show right after this.
Hey, it's the Good Greek Spiro, and we all know that the most important part of winning a championship is getting there. And when the Miami Hurricanes need to get their equipment to each game, they call Good Greek Moving and Storage. The Miami Hurricanes trust the Good Greek, and so should you. So move like a champ and go to goodgreek.com. Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of the Miami Hurricanes.
Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
I will fight, I always do, until my heart is black and blue. 'Cause I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up, no, not yet.
I am cancer free.
Even when I'm down on my last breath.
There would be no need for any further treatment.
Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on me.
The school bus.
The Zach wagon.
Wally.
No matter what you call your car or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We're paying top dollar right now. So go to AutoNation.com or come see us for a super easy appraisal. Get paid on the spot, and you can deposit it the same day. Visit any AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. What drives you drives us.
With UHealth Virtual Clinics, you can see our experts in every specialty wherever you are.
University of Miami health system providers are available here for all your healthcare needs.
All you need is a phone or tablet to schedule a virtual visit with us.
See a UHealth provider virtually today or at a time that's convenient for you.
Visit umiamihealth.org/virtual clinics or call 305-243-4000.
University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Experts treat athletes of all levels, elite pros, active adults, and youth athletes. Recover your game. Visit uhealthsportsmedicine.com.
It's now time for the breakdown segment with head coach Manny Diaz. And coach, what do you have for us today?
Well, we're going to talk about our man, the Rooster, Jalen Knighton. It's his time. Obviously, we went into the season. We had three backs we thought were all big-time guys, and Harris and Chaney and Knighton. And you can't predict injuries. You feel terrible for the two guys that got hurt. Jalen's got to step up, be the man. And there were some things worthy to talk about from the performance, and just want to break down a couple of these plays. This is an early run in the second quarter, and just the great thing you see is just a guy that we know is explosive, but watch his finish. I thought he just did a really nice job finishing through contact. Watch how he delivers the blow right there at the end. Really, really nice job. And I know, Don, we bragged on our offensive line. It's a really good little counter play right here. Watch how Scaife and Jared Williams pull right here for these two guys over here on this side.
See, Coach, those guys can be athletic.
Oh, yeah, you got to be got to be athletic to be able to pull and be able to redirect like that. And DJ, covers his man up, his man on the side of the ball, and Jalen pops it out there. Like I said, really nice play. Then we get down there close, and now you got to mash it in. And again, I thought this was a really nice job here. There's Navon pulling, watching Navon kick his guy out, watch him displace his guy, and watch Elijah Arroyo, again, another true freshman right here. Watch him bang. See, look how he knocks into that linebacker, and that creates a space. That guy now has no power left to stop Jalen from scoring. So nice job in front.
So, Coach, you, instead of having a tight end on the left-hand side, you insert Justice Olajuwon.
Yeah.
And he comes in and does a nice job.
He does. He sort of knocks that thing down, and tough guy, really helps us out on our offensive line. So you'll see the same thing here. So this is we get him into a light box. There's only 5 defenders in the box. They got 3 guys playing out here on the perimeter. So it gives you a great window to hand the ball off. And again, though, I just want to, you see the speed in which Knight can get through the hole. The middle linebacker can't get to him. But just the finish, same thing. Runs behind his pads, finishes the contact, goes forward, and that matters. That's a yard past the first down, and those are the yards that you want to see your guys fight for. Again, really good job right there. You see that big old hole open up. Scaife tracks his man well. Jared Williams that's a sizable hole, and even if you got a linebacker like that, it's just hard to make a play like that in that space with someone as quick as Jalen is.
And Coach's speed kicks in. You can see even 44 had the initial angle and it vanished.
Yeah, I like this play a lot here too. 3rd down and 1. So again, highlighting. Everyone saw the long run or the long play. We'll talk about that in a second, but we need Jalen now. Losing a guy as tough a runner as Cam Harris, Don Chaney. He's got to do it all now. So this is a 3rd and 1 situation. They're going to have them all up there close. They got a bunch of guys up there. As you see, no one deep here in the middle of the field. And sometimes he's got to go get a yard. And he does a nice job. He trusts, we'll watch this from the end zone, but he trusts his blocking up the middle of the field. They got all those guys up there. Watch it. Again, really nice job, really nice combo right here between Zion Nelson and Navon Donaldson. Bang. See, Navon gets up to second level. We're 3 for 3 here on the backside. And there it is. Great hole on 3rd down, 3rd and 1. Now you see the ability to get out there with speed, and almost broke that one. And here's the big play. And this is, again, look at the down and distances. 3rd down over here. And I can't help but, again, brag on Van Dyke on this as well. We're in the second half. This is when we're down by 11 points late in the 3rd. And again, the read starts in. Watch Tyler's helmet. He's looking that way. That's his progression. Starts into the boundary. Doesn't like it. He's got Mallory on the cross, doesn't like it, can come back here, but that's waiting to come open. And North Carolina messed up. Nobody covered Knighton out of the backfield. One of these guys is supposed to have him. They don't take him. And so, again, it's two things. Everyone's going to see the great play, but this is a big-time quarterback play. That's the fifth guy in the progression. So the fact that Tyler can have the progression, the fact that the offensive line is giving Tyler all the time in space to be able to go through his reads. And remember how I talked earlier in the show about how if you're talented, if you do your job, usually the things happen. Nothing special is happening on this play. Everyone's just doing their job. Great protection. Very simple throw. It's like pitching the ball from second base to first, and now let the talent go. And here's, boom, two missed tackles right there, and now he's in the open field, and you're not going to get him. And you see the speed, the afterburners. I mean, this guy had the angle. The key word there being had. So great to see Jalen get that long run. Got everybody on the sideline excited. I mean, this is just the juice and energy of our team, and just lets us know that we're always in the game, because explosive plays can happen at any moment. And a guy like Jalen, I mean, bang, great cut, miss, and away we go. Great effort. And he learned from last year, he carried the ball away through the end zone this time. And then the last one here is, or the last couple here to show is, again, just, I still like this though, because it's hard runs through the tackles. And then watch here, there's two would-be tacklers. So again, I mean, you saw the speed, but watch how he just runs through. You know what I mean? So again, initially they have a chance to make contact here at the 45-yard line. And Jalen carries that guy another 6 yards. I mean, to me, that's being a complete back, and I thought that was really encouraging. And then down here at the end, we convert a 3rd and 21. We go fast. They're all discombobulated. They got guys running around. And look at this cut right here. Great cut. Carries the ball in the end zone. We'd go for 2 and get it to 3. Some really good blocks. Zion Nelson covers up his guy. That's Larry Hodges covering up his guy. Really nice job right there. But again, something happens. If a guy falls off a guy, look at the quick feet of Jalen where he can hop out of cuts. So you saw it all on this tape. Everyone saw the big play, the home run speed. You saw some power through contact, sticking it in the A gap. You know what I mean? And great jump cut right there to get in the end zone.
Coach, he's complete back. I mean, can catch it and give you short yardage runs.
Yeah, and that's why we want to highlight him. He's going to have to play a huge role for us to have success going forward.
That does it for the breakdown segment with head coach Manny Diaz.
I will fight. I always do until my heart is black and blue. 'Cause I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not yet.
I am cancer free.
Even when I'm down on my last breath.
There would be no need for any further treatment.
Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on me.
If you train like a pro, then you should be treated like a pro. Much like the human body, our team of sports medicine experts moves as one to achieve a singular goal. Recover your game.
The joint chiropractic adjustment of the game. Hurricanes defense with a game-changing play. Jafari Harvey gets into the passing lane, deflects it, grabs it, and races into the end zone for a pick 6. Hurricanes defensive end from Vero Beach, Jafari Harvey. This is a sweet play. Takes it into the end zone for a touchdown. The joint chiropractic adjustment of the game. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., and we are now joined by Josh Darrow, podcaster and sideline reporter, as Miami gets ready to play North Carolina State on Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium. 7:30 kickoff. State comes in 5-1, ranked 18th in the country. Hurricanes just need to find a way to win, and one of the ways one path to victory is play with the same emotion and energy and passion they played with against Carolina.
Yeah, I think that they'll do that, Joe. I was in the locker room, obviously, after the last 2 games, and it was It's obviously sad in that locker room, but there was a sense of pride that these guys had, and Josh was down there with me, and they were disappointed, but there was nobody, slinging stuff or talking or fights going on. They understand that it's every week is going to be that close, and that you can't make the mistakes, but you also have to capitalize on the opponent's mistakes.
100%, and I think that's where it comes down to, right? Is mistakes or eliminating the mistakes, because you are taking away the opportunities to put yourself in the best position to win. But I want to echo what Manny said, just from being on the sidelines during that North Carolina game, and I probably should have mentioned it more during our broadcast. There was a really tangible energy in the second half. Even when they were down, there was a belief that they were going to come back and win. And I think that's also what makes it so heartbreaking, the way the game lost, and then, two weeks in a row. But, the one, as a coach, before you even get to execution, you want your team to be in. And their team's been in. I mean, I'm talking emotionally, mentally, they have been in. And now it's just a matter of correcting some of those things that give you the best chance to win.
Yeah, execution against North Carolina State is something we'll talk about here in the course of the show, because you can't beat yourself. State is not going to beat themselves. Let's go to Tyler Van Dyke for a moment.
As a football team, you got to help him win the game. And he has been, he started a pattern. He started off slow against Virginia, and he came back and marched them down the field, put them in a position to win. Of course, the missed field goal kept them from winning that football game. He did it again. He marched the field. He was able to bring them down, gets to the 16-yard line, and an interception happens. The thing that you have to make sure of is that he doesn't become prone to throwing the pick. Yeah. You can't have 3 interceptions a game, and you'll never win. It doesn't matter how good you start in the first half or how bad you start or how you finish. You cannot give the football away. I've been very impressed with him in the sense that he hasn't buckled. He's never shown that he was inexperienced. He's never shown the fact that he can't handle the pressure, but he's not seen many things twice. And more importantly, I'll go back to it again, you can't give the football away.
Can't give the football away, and I think we really have to remember really, really clearly that he's a redshirt freshman that got his first 2 starts. We can't wave that off like it didn't happen and we just inserted a veteran quarterback. D'Eriq King, there was hope because of everything he had brought to the table from a talent standpoint and his leadership, experience, maturity. So when you look back really at what Tyler Van Dyke has done, it shouldn't be completely unexpected. And I don't mean that as a criticism. I just mean you're starting a guy in his second game. And you have to, and I really, if you talk about his fight and his toughness and his resiliency, right? They always talk about him being a Northeast guy. You see that in him. Because it'd be very easy for him to have folded in those last 2 games.
And Josh, the other part of it, Joe, as well, is that Rhett Lashley has had to redesign a part of his offense. There was always the dual threat side with D'Eriq King. There we have a quarterback that can run, he can produce things, but he is not going to ever be labeled a dual threat quarterback.
Oh, no, he's a straight line runner.
Yeah, he's a straight line runner, is exactly right. But when you think about having to go in and now you knew what D'Eriq King can do, you knew how to build around it, now you have to sit back and reevaluate how can we win football games and accentuate everybody around Tyler Van Dyke's talent.
I feel like he's better when desperation starts to set into the game. When it starts off slow, kind of a standard game, but then when the game speeds up, he seems to start moving around more naturally and making plays.
He's probably thinking a little bit less, right, because you just have to go make a play. But I want to mention, add on to something that Don said about Rhett Lashley. And I want to make this point, because to watch him after each possession during the game, to really watch how he's masterfully managing Tyler Van Dyke's mind. Because it takes a lot as a coach not to yell and not to scream and not to be frustrated. And he also is very mindful of his quarterback that is making his second start. And to watch him converse with his quarterback, not yell or scream, but to talk with his quarterback and understand and ask, what did you see? Let's talk through the plays, and to keep his quarterback focused in the game. I think, obviously you don't see, it's hard to see from your guys' vantage point, but to watch him on the sideline to ensure that he also doesn't lose his quarterback, I think has really been a gift. What I saw from Rhett Lashley on Saturday against North Carolina, I was really impressed about how he really was able to massage his quarterback through that game and keep him going and moving from one possession to the next and instilling that belief in him, so that his quarterback had a chance to make those plays at the end.
Okay, we'll move rapidly through this one. Jalen Knighton, 19 touches, 167 yards a week ago, 3 touchdowns. I've been waiting for this kind of performance, this kind of player for the University of Miami. This is the kind of performance, the kind of threat you need in college football today. Somebody that can be multidimensional and give you quick scores.
I'm interested to see how he matures into this role, because he was one of the guys up until this point. Today, he's the man. And when you're the man, it's a different deal. When you're the man, you got to win the football game. When you're the man, you got to make the short yardage play. When you're the man, you got to get up after getting hit. And there's not really anybody behind you.
Nope.
You know, so you're going to learn a lot about Jalen Knighton. It's time for him, in my opinion, to capitalize on this opportunity, because that's what it is. He had the opportunity at the Duke game last year, and now he's got an opportunity to be the man, the Edger and James, and the guys that have come along through this past, and you've seen how they've grabbed that position and taken hold of it.
Yeah, so when you said everything, right, it's taking contact, it's getting up. We always say about running backs earn their opportunity, not really from running the football, but blitz pickup, pass protection, because that's all part of it, especially if everyone has to play better around their quarterback. But the thing I love about Jalen Knighton, and we all know this, right, is, to Joe's point, I'm a guy who subscribes to trying to make the game easy. So when you can take a swing pass, put 1 foot in the ground, and lose the defensive back and sprint 60 yards to the house, that makes the game easy. It also reduces margin for error. You don't have to worry about driving 8 to 10 plays down the field. Is there going to be a pick? Is there going to be a missed assignment? You can put it in a guy's hands like that has the ability to house one, and that's a special quality, and hopefully will help give that offense a little bit of that ignition that it could use.
Okay, Miami and North Carolina State on Saturday, 7:30, Hard Rock Stadium. We will continue on the show right after this.
The school bus.
The Zach Wagon.
Wowie.
No matter what you call your car or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We're paying top dollar right now. So go to AutoNation.com or come see us for a super easy appraisal. Get paid on the spot, and you can deposit it the same day. Visit any AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. What drives you, drives us.
Hey, it's the Good Greek Spiro, and we all know that the most important part of winning a championship is getting there. And when the Miami Hurricanes need to get their equipment to each game, they call Good Greek Moving and Storage. The Miami Hurricanes trust the Good Greek, and so should you. So move like a champ and go to goodgreek.com. Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of the Miami Hurricanes.
Good Greek Moving and Storage, your superhero movers.
Welcome back to the show. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., and Josh Darrow. Miami and North Carolina State on Saturday at 7:30, Hard Rock Stadium. State has won 5 in a row. They beat Clemson, had a great win against Boston College. They're ranked 18th in the country. They're loaded with veteran players. Dave Doeren has been there for a long time now. This might be the best team he's had. They're rolling. This is a big opportunity for Miami.
I like the way they play. I was impressed with them when we went up there a couple years ago with Coach Richt. I was impressed with them when Miami beat them last year. They still made a lot of plays. But what I see them, when I look at them as a football team, they are tough. They're hard-nosed. They don't surrender. They go after you. They've got an excellent player on the offensive line. They've got a quarterback that has become very, very efficient. They have the running game in place. They have a bit of an oddity on defense with that 3-3 thing where they can shift it and bring guys from all different directions, and you have to be prepared for that. I think it's going to be a very tough challenge for the University of Miami, but they can win this football game. There's no question in my mind that they have the skill to do it, but there's going to be a 60-minute deal. This is not going to be something I think that you can pick up at the second half and close the deal.
No, and I think also with the way they play defense, you're going to have to stick with it because nothing's going to come easy. They're one of the elite teams in the ACC, if not the country, in terms of how they play on the defensive side of the ball. And then offensively, you just look at a team, they kind of play off of each other, right? The offense and the defense, and they don't turn it over much. They grab turnovers. They get off the field on third down. They're also an experienced team. They have a lot of veterans. They have some grad transfers. And like you said, their coach has been there 8 or 9 years, so they kind of know, everyone in the program knows what Dave Doeren wants. He knows how he wants it to look. His coaches know how it's supposed to be, and his players have been in the program.
Well, I'll give you this, paint this picture. He's from Wisconsin, but this is the ACC's version of Michigan State. The quarterback is steady. Devin Leary's steady, just like the quarterback at Michigan State. The running backs might not be as elusive as Walker, but Bam Knight runs really hard. They've got a bevy of wide receivers.
And big ones.
Big ones, little ones, in-between ones. A tight end that's really good. Defense that's allowing less than 100 yards a game.
That's why they're in the position.
Rushing, 100 yards.
That's why they're in the position that they're in. That's where they've got one loss, and it was against the Southeastern Conference team early in the season. And let's go back to the most important thing that's happened for them. They beat Clemson. What more do they need to know? Where does all the confidence come from? Joe, you talk about it all the time. You get that one win, the next one comes, the next one comes. They beat Clemson. That's what, whether Clemson's got one loss or 10 in this era, that means something. And I think that's where a lot of their confidence has come from, because now they're believing in that program that you were talking about that Coach Doran has created.
Yeah, and I think you have guys that have been there and been through it, right? And they know what it's like. And now, of course, they should, at least, they should be seeking the opportunity that's sitting in front of them, which would be to get to Charlotte and play for the ACC championship game, play for a New Year's Day bowl game. I mean, I would imagine if you're on that side of the equation, you're telling your squad everything is out there in front of you for you to like Don said, they slayed the dragon, and now it's all out there for you.
They're giving up 296 yards a game on defense, under 100 rushing. We mentioned this with Coach Diaz. Their punter is averaging 46 yards a punt, but he's got like 13 or 14 that are 50 yards or more. He puts the ball inside the 20-yard line. So what they do is they force you to play on the long field against a very stout defense. You mentioned the 3-3-5, which is becoming more and more popular in college football. Miami's execution against this defense is going to have to be really good.
And I'll remind you, we got a punter like that too. We got a guy that can kick it. It was not his best game last week against North Carolina, but the field position is going to be key. And I'm with you, Joe. The challenge of this defense is that you don't know where the people are coming from. I do know this. They've got a strong point of attack guy playing over the center at the nose guard. Those two outside guys can rush the passer, but the linebacking core, those are the ones that cause the problem. And then they drop in somebody from the secondary on a frequent basis as well.
You know, got a chance to sneak in some time when we were in Chapel Hill getting ready for the NC State game, and that 3-3-5, they don't have a lot of sacks, right? So it's not that kind of defense, but the linebackers jumped out to me. 1 and 2, Moore and Scott made a ton of plays, and then the safety behind them kind of fills in behind them, and that's kind of that layered defense now that you see, that you have depth to your defense, and you have different guys at different levels that can come down and make plays. And then, you know, they got to kick the transfer from Florida State in the middle of that defense. And then, they're going to move guys around. And so that'll be the challenge for the offensive line, the communication. Tyler Van Dyke is trying to identify it. And also probably knowing you're never going to want to know this, but it's going to have to, if there's a bad play, kind of get up, regroup, go play the next play.
And the running game is going to be a key component, Joe. You know, because it'll take the pressure off the quarterback. Because again, Tyler hasn't seen this before. There's going to be no recall for him.
Jalen Knighton, you're going to have to come through in this one. Okay, the path to victory, the keys to the game. We'll have that for you when we come back right after this.
If you train like a pro, then you should be treated like a pro. Much like the human body, our team of sports medicine experts moves as one to achieve a singular goal. Recover your game.
I will fight, I always do, until my heart is black and blue. 'Cause I don't like giving up, I'm not giving up, no, not yet.
I am cancer free.
Even when I'm down on my last breath.
Would be no need for any further treatment.
Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on me.
The keys to the game are brought to you by AutoNation. AutoNation drives pink to help drive out cancer. Over $28 million donated so far to cancer treatment and research. Do your part and drive pink in a new car or truck. For the AutoNation store near you, visit AutoNation.com. All right, welcome back to the show. Joe Zagacki, Don Bailey Jr., and Josh Darrow. Time now for the keys to the game. How can Miami win this game at home against North Carolina State? We have come up with these keys to the game. Hurricanes offensive line, I think they're improving. Got to win in the trenches against a very physical North Carolina State team, trying to figure out how to get over 100 yards rushing. You mentioned it earlier, Don. Can't throw 3 interceptions and win the football game. And then win on the perimeter. State is really big with their wide receivers and really experienced in their secondary. So let's start with key number 1. Right in your wheelhouse, win in the trenches.
Well, the good news is Miami is coming off, I believe, their best game in the last 2 years as an offensive line. They did a phenomenal job both protecting the quarterback last week against North Carolina. There were times when you could count to 10 before Tyler had to throw the football. The running game exploded. A lot of that had to do with Knighton, but it also has to do with that offensive line as well. So this is a week where the offensive line just has to build on that. And you look at the production, Zion Nelson coming off an injury that he had in camp, he looks like he's supposed to look right now. And Ja'Kai Clark is settled in at that center position, and Navon Donaldson's finally looking like that Navon Donaldson. I think it'll come together well for Miami.
I also think the right side of the line sort of has solidified itself with 2 guys that have kind of been mismatched. You know, like DJ Scaife, they wanted to play on the outside. He's looked good inside. Jared Williams has been here for a while and is good in the run game. And then we talked about before with Jalen Knighton or Rhett Lashley. We talked about how Rhett Lashley has had to maybe rethink some things with his quarterback because he doesn't have a guy as mobile as De'Ara King. Well, Jalen Knighton now gives them some other things to play with in the running game, which they've been introducing over the last couple of weeks to complement the inside zone. They've been, running more of the outside zone. I think they ran a toss once or twice in the North Carolina game. So I think, again, the offense has had that I think you used the word reboot at one point, right? So the offense is continually kind of resetting itself because of the personnel changes, but that also might open some things up for the offense and Rhett Lashley to dive into his playbook.
State's quarterback, Leary, is throwing 15 touchdowns. Only 2 interceptions. Miami's got to figure out how to take the ball away from him, but more importantly, protect the football. Last week it was interceptions with Van Dyke throwing into the teeth of the defense. Miami's got to do a good job of decoding this defense, and he's got to do a better job, I think, of scanning the field and surveying the situation.
You're not going to win football games losing the turnover battle 3-1. It's not going to happen. It's very, very rare. And what does Van Dyke learn from that? If the ball is not there, if the receiver's not there, throw the ball away. Get rid of it. Live for another day. You cannot give the opponent extra possessions. And you see what happened last week when North Carolina State was at Boston College. And yeah, it was a scoop and score on a special teams play, but it's a takeaway. It's a giant play. It infuses energy into the opponent, and that's something you have to be careful of. And you have to, if you're running the football, you're going to have to hold it high and tight because that's a part of it as well. They got to make sure that the backs hold on to it.
Well, we saw that firsthand in Chapel Hill. Jafari Harvey made a play that when Miami's offense was struggling a little bit in the first half, he made a play that recaptured the momentum early on, for the University of Miami. And it was good to break out the chain and the rings. We got a 2-for-1 situation. But yeah, I think the big thing for Miami, and I think Coach Diaz has talked about it, we've talked about it, is you got to do everything you can to help yourself where you are right now, whether it's needing a win, the personnel changes, the injuries, so turnovers, penalties, those kinds of things. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself and put yourself in the best position to win. And to Don's point, to Tyler Van Dyke, if it's not there, get the 3rd down, get the 2nd down, but don't give the ball back and let them start a drive.
We talked about, we put this in there, win on the perimeter. Offensively, North Carolina State has a couple of wide receivers. Emeka Emezi, 34 catches, he's a big receiver. Devin Carter's a big receiver. Thayer's a very experienced receiver. So the Miami secondary, they got to make big plays on the perimeter. Conversely, the North Carolina State secondary, 5 guys back there, all with a lot of experience, all with good size, all ball hawks. Miami wide receivers are going to have to win the 50-50 ball.
Well, I'll start on the Miami receiver side. First of all, a year ago today, we would be struggling to have a conversation about Miami's receivers. They were not performing at a level that would win football games. what a difference a year makes. Now you're finding guys, and Rambo was a big part of it. Harley obviously has his role. Smith is there. Restrepo is there. You've got the three amigos. I mean, they turned a position really that was a great concern during last season into the strength maybe of this offense. So I have confidence in those guys. I have confidence in Rhett Lashley that he will get our receivers the ball on the perimeter. And after what Miami did on the offensive line last week as far as protection goes, Van Dyke's going to have it. You go to the other side of it, you have Leary, who we know is having a great year. Very productive, high touchdown count to low interceptions. But Miami's secondary's got to make the play once they catch the football. Let's give them the catch. You got to make the tackle. You got to attack the ball carrier, and hopefully you can come up with turnovers.
And the other thing too, on the perimeter, they're big at the receiver spot. Their running backs are big too. So you got to tackle on them. Everything, tackle on the perimeter. Go up and fight for the football if you're a defensive back, right? Because those guys are going to go grab the football. They high point the ball. They get after the ball. They help their quarterback out. And then I agree with Don. I mean, the big thing for Miami in terms of the receiver group coming in was contested catches. We saw it in Chapel Hill. Those receivers made some really, really tough catches. And that's what you're supposed to do. Whether it's Tyler Van Dyke or De'Ara King, it doesn't matter. Your job is, if the ball's there, you got to go fight. Keyshawn Smith Rambo made catches. Restrepo, went up and, and got a ball and broke tackles. So Miami needs that on both sides. Both sides on the perimeter have to be tough. That's the receivers as well as the defensive backs.
It's going to be a Saturday night at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami and North Carolina State. Another great opportunity for the University of Miami to change the path of their season against 18th ranked North Carolina State for head coach Manny Diaz, Don Bailey Jr., and Josh Darrow. I'm Joe Zagacki. Thanks for joining us here on the Manny Diaz Show, and we'll see you next time.